Arsenal seem to never get any respect.
Watching Arsenal is watching Netflix, You always wait for the next season.
Whether it's an article from an Arsenal fan himself saying the fan base is unbearable, or pundits just not liking the way the team plays.
If Arsenal win the league, this could be the worst team to win the league.
Nobody seems to like the Arsenal.
They have a lot of likeable players who are super talented, but they're a very unlikable team. One of the most unlikable teams in the Premier League, because they moan and they groan about everything and they think everything's against them. But I didn't like the fact that they thought every single challenge should have been a free kick or a penalty or something for Arsenal.
Dark arts, anti-football, defensive, set-piece FC, haram football. That's the way that the media talks about them.
They were, but again, you talk about coming back to, we talk about XG, but in terms of set pieces, what we saw at the start of the season, this thing was brilliant, it was amazing. I'd never seen anything like it before. Everybody in a stadium, whether you were an Arsenal supporter or the opposition supporter, felt like it was going to be a goal from a set piece, but you can't have that threat off every set piece, it's impossible.
They're also a threat on set pieces, so where Arsenal 9 out of 10 times does the same.
I think he's overreaching his importance, right? I think if a goalkeeper makes a save, I don't see the goalkeeping coach on the edge of the touchline. I see goalkeeping coaches, I see brilliant coaches that work on the team every single day who give the passing movements to the players. I don't see them, when there's a goal, pointing at themselves and looking like they're important and overreaching their importance.
He is important.
I mean, just look at this contrast.
No, I love seeing that. I think that adds to it, adds to the game.
We want that fight, we want that spirit between the teams, we want the battle on the benches at the end. I want to mention Gabriel and what he did to Haaland. I actually don't like it. I think it's a bit disrespectful.
Arsenal are a story on their own. They're one of the biggest teams in England, one of the most elite clubs in world football right now, yet they're also one of the most divisive.
This kid looks an absolute superstar and he's got that presence and personality on a football pitch at 18 that you very rarely see.
Didn't like the Lewis Skelly thing. I don't care that Haaland said to him in the first game, who the fuck are you? I don't think Lewis Skelly is in a position to be taking the piss out of Erling Haaland, who was a guy who scored 250 goals and won every trophy under the sun.
No matter where you look, there's always a debate surrounding them.
Yeah, you need that little bit of rivalry, that little bit of, stick up the backside and say, right, you're having it today.
The Lewis Skelly stuff. Wind your neck in.
I mean, I guess it shouldn't come as a surprise when their own fans like Piers Morgan make tweets like this. It's very easy to notice that the tone around the Gunners has changed. Maybe it's because they're doing well now and are back to being an elite team, so many people are preying on their downfall. Over the last 3 to 4 years, they've been one of the most consistent teams both in the Premier League and in Europe. The squad has clearly improved every window. Their football has become more controlled, and their overall level has gone up year after year. But recently, the reaction feels different. There's a sense that a big part of the Premier League fan base is actively waiting for them to slip up. When Arsenal win playing well, the response is often that the league is weak.
Because the competition has been not been great, has it? You never know with City though. If City get them defenders back,
oh yeah, City could go on a run. City could go on a run now and win every game to the end of the season.
When they win a tight physical game or score from a set piece, it turns into corner FC or boring Arsenal.
Did you see that yesterday? The top goal scorers for Arsenal, the third in their list is own goals.
Yeah.
No.
It was amazing yesterday. Did you see the stats as well on Sky, which they did, saying about the least amount of goals the top scorers scored? Yeah. I was surprised at that. Yeah.
When they lose, everyone treats it as a celebration. Like, I'm pretty sure everyone was supporting United when they beat Arsenal at the Emirates. It was seen as ethical football versus Dark Arts FC. That game was an example that many people are not watching to see how Arsenal play, they're watching in the hope that these guys lose. Another reason for the hate might be the fact that this team is very different from other top sides that we have seen dominate the Premier League. Arsenal don't really have a standout attacker. If they end up winning the league, their best players this season have been a central midfielder and their 2 center backs. When it comes to goals, it's spread out. They don't have a guy like Haaland, Salah, or Kevin De Bruyne. There's nobody carrying this team with goals and assists. Saka was always supposed to be that guy, but the 2025-2026 season was not one of his best, and yet Arsenal kept winning. By best, I mean statistically. He's still doing his role for the team, but we've seen him get better numbers in previous seasons that Arsenal ended up not winning in. Some people will argue that Arsenal just do not play good, exciting football, so it's hard to back them. They don't look like the Liverpool team that won in 2020, or the City teams that we saw dominate in the past. But Arsenal Arsenal fans would tell you that it's hard to play entertaining football consistently when everyone and their grandmother parks the bus against them. Everyone plays to not lose rather than to win when they play the Gunners. I mean, see the difference in their performances in the Champions League versus the Premier League. Champions League teams play more open, so Arsenal can actually attack. I mean, look at what these guys did to Inter and Atletico Madrid and Bayern.
Martinelli! Oh, what a goal! Superb from Arsenal!
Expertly there with the outside of his boot. Saka with him. Gyökeres will go for goal, and Gyökeres will curl it home.
Martinelli goes, Neuer's out of his goal! Martinelli should be in here! This will be 3 for Arsenal! And Martinelli has scored!
Now, this is typically what happens when a team reaches the top. Success brings scrutiny, and the standards get raised. Every performance is judged more harshly, and the margins for praise get smaller. You also start to see the goalposts move because people expect more, and because it's easier to downplay success rather than admit that a rival is doing something right. So the real question is, are Arsenal unfairly targeted because people hate when teams do good, or do these guys just bring it upon themselves? You have to keep in mind that it's not like Arsenal have only recently been getting hate. This is something that the club has dealt with for years. They have always been at the center of controversy, even from Arsene Wenger's early days. When Wenger arrived in 1996, he was an unknown figure to most English football fans.
I came here and it was new to have a foreign manager, so I could understand the skepticism of the people.
The media and many within the footballing establishments questioned whether he was the right man for the job. At the time, English football was still largely resistant to foreign managers, and Wenger's arrival was met with questions.
I proposed Arsene, and actually the board were very conservative and didn't really think that a manager from overseas would be right.
The infamous headline from the Evening Standard, Arsene Who, captured the doubt and disbelief surrounding his appointment.
And just finally, how much are the players looking forward to Arsene Wenger arriving now that you've officially been told it's going to be the end of this month?
Who? Wenger's football philosophy, which was to emphasize nutrition, sports science, and technical quality, directly clashed with the traditional English footballing culture.
The Arsenal players are getting used to their new manager and his new methods,
which prioritized physicality, toughness, and experience. His methods were mocked by other managers who felt that his ideas were too soft for the English game.
Really articulate, wonderful man. He's got visions of the future. He's going to change the game in England. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, okay, David, of course he is.
Additionally, Wenger's insistence on strict diet plans, like removing alcohol and fried foods from players' meals, was laughed at in an era where many footballers still enjoyed pub culture.
In fact, in a way, he revolutionised not just Arsenal, he revolutionised English football because he changed the dietary habits, he changed tactics, he changed the way they train, and he was a breath of fresh air.
Although he initially allowed players to have a pint of beer, they were forbidden to drink on days off and in the players' lounge. He later banned his players from casually drinking together. Jamie Vardy would have hated playing for Arsene Wenger. Now, the players were skeptical to Wenger's ideas at first.
It was really a shock, and you only buy into it when you realise it's going to be a success.
Especially when Tony Adams found out that Wenger had suggested some changes to Pat Rice for the UEFA Cup match against Borussia Mönchengladbach. That match had occurred 9 days before the Frenchman was supposed to take charge of the club.
Wenger will travel to Germany this week with Arsenal to observe his new team, leaving Rice with the job of inspiring a UEFA Cup comeback against Borussia Mönchengladbach.
Arsenal ended up losing, which angered Adams, who expressed his disappointment in his first meeting with Wenger. Shortly after Wenger had joined, rumors began circulating around his private life. Gossips were started about him that were malicious and untrue. The articles were taken down quickly, but they made enough noise at the time that the City of London reported Wenger's exit from Arsenal was imminent.
How long I would last was one of the biggest bets in the country.
According to some sources, the rumor had to do with a secret reason that was created for why Wenger had left Japan. It had nothing to do with football, but with Wenger's personal relationship with his girlfriend. That was only the beginning. As Wenger's teams became known for their technical brilliance and attacking flair, rivals labeled them as soft, as a team that were unable to handle the rough and tumble nature of English football.
This was a new system for us where we were playing out from the back, no more long balls, which I used to hit every time.
The criticism got worse as teams like Manchester United and Bolton physically targeted Arsenal.
Arsene Wenger's been in Japan for a year. He doesn't know anything about English football.
He's unaware of the demands of our game.
And the media framed Arsenal as a side that could play beautiful football, but struggled with resilience, which is hilarious because the current narrative around Arsenal is basically the complete opposite. They get criticized for winning by playing ugly football. Another major criticism that Arsenal faced was their lack of English players under Wenger. During the early 2000s, the club often fielded starting 11s without a single English player, which led to criticism that they weren't respecting the roots of English football.
We have improved our quality on the English side.
That argument gained a lot of traction as other big clubs like Manchester United and Liverpool still relied heavily on homegrown talent. The media pointed this out a lot, adding to the animosity towards Wenger's Arsenal. Wenger's rivalry with Sir Alex Ferguson also played a huge role in the hate that Arsenal received.
Arsene Wenger's had a swipe at Manchester United again today. He's got plenty to say. You should maybe concentrate on what Ian Wright's tackles, maybe rather than talk about Manchester United.
Early on, Ferguson and United dominated English football, and Wenger's Arsenal were the first team to genuinely challenge them. This led to a fierce and often bitter war of words between the two managers.
He has no experience of English football. He's come from Japan and is into English football and is now telling everybody in England how to organise their football.
Which again further fueled the anti-Arsenal sentiment in the media. Ferguson and his players frequently accused Wenger of arrogance.
He was incredibly arrogant.
And Arsenal were portrayed as a club that saw themselves as above their traditional English style. The clashes between Arsenal and United, especially in the late 90s and early 2000s, became some of the most heated in football history, with incidents like Pizzagate.
I don't even know who threw the pizza at the time. I know it's been reported since it was Fabregas.
And Keane versus Vieira in the tunnel, adding to this narrative. By the 2003-2004 season, Wenger had built one of the greatest teams in football history, the Invincibles. But instead of universal praise, Arsenal's unbeaten run led to even more criticism.
Big Arsenal fans have accused Graham Souness of being jealous of Arsene Wenger after he claimed the Frenchman got very lucky during his managerial career. My take on him was he got very, very lucky at a time when French football produced its greatest ever group of players.
Rival fans and pundits accused them of arrogance, especially when Wenger boldly claimed his side could go an entire season unbeaten before they actually did.
Arsene, I think you're one of the few people who believe that you could go the whole season unbeaten. How do you feel now that you've achieved it?
Of course, we are very proud.
Arsenal's confidence was interpreted as smugness, leading to once again more resentment. After going unbeaten in the 2003-2004 season, Arsenal failed to defend their title in the 2004-2005 season, finishing 12 points behind Chelsea.
Why did that team, it was invincible, why did it not kick on? Why did it not become a dynasty?
Critics began suggesting that Wenger's dominance was fading. The departure of key players like Patrick Vieira and Robert Perez weakened the team.
Look at the difference now following the Invincible year, when you win the league, and how quickly it changes.
We didn't improve. That was the thing. No money. The money went into the stadium. And we were losing players every single year.
Wenger was criticized for not adequately replacing these guys. Then Arsenal lost the 2006 Champions League final to Barcelona, despite taking the lead.
When you took the lead, how convinced were you could hang on against a team like Barcelona with only 10?
This was seen as a failure to step up on the biggest stage. So once again, pundits argued that Wenger's philosophy wasn't suited for European success.
If you're successful, those two central midfield players, Petit, Vieira, powerful in there. Why do you think I'm going to assess Fabregas and say I'm going to totally change? If you've got a template of how to win the league, why would you change that?
In the years that followed, Wenger and Arsenal faced relentless criticism because people said that they were prioritizing top four over trophies. I mean, the phrase fourth place trophy literally became synonymous with Wenger's reign. Due to a lack of titles, pundits began to call Arsenal soft again, criticizing their lack of leadership and mental strength.
We've said it before about, we keep repeating ourselves, lack of leaders, lack of characters, hunger, desire.
I can't think of a word to describe that bunch. I could, but it might not be usable on television. But they're certainly not what I would call the type of characters that you would want to win you a league.
When Wenger began winning FA Cups, critics began to focus on Arsenal's inability to be genuine contenders in the league and the Champions League.
Poor attitude, no energy, no desire. You're looking for your senior players to lead by example. You know, I always think when Wilshere's your captain, to me, probably the most overrated player on the planet.
For example, the 2015-2016 was Arsenal's best chance to win the league in years, as the giants like United, Chelsea, and Liverpool were all struggling. Even City wasn't having a good season. Leicester ended up winning the title with 81 points, while Arsenal finished second. Their inability to capitalize on what many people saw as the weakest Premier League season in recent history led to, again, more criticism from both fans and pundits. I mean, think about it, Arsenal's own supporters were divided. Many loved Wenger for what he had done for the club, but the Wenger out crew was gaining momentum.
Get him out, fam. Get him out.
Get who out?
Get Wenger out, blood. Get him out, fam.
We all know that Wenger never says anything. It's a mentality thing.
Do you know how bad it is? Last night I chatted to my mum, yeah? My mum's Wenger in. Is she mad?
By 2018, the Arsenal fan base was deeply divided. That's when the protests began in and outside of stadiums, and Wenger finally announced that he would step down at the end of the season. Now, the hate towards Arsenal did not stop when Wenger stepped down, because when Arteta was appointed, the media's outlook towards the Gunners did not change. Similar to Wenger's early days, Arteta's inexperience was questioned.
If I wouldn't feel that I'm ready and prepared for this, I wouldn't be sitting in this chair.
He won an FA Cup, but Arsenal's form in the league was poor, leading to serious concerns about whether he was out of his depth.
You say it will come. You're in a really difficult moment. This is Arsenal's worst start for 45 years.
So once again, the Arsenal fan base was divided, with Arteta out trending.
He is not good enough to be manager of Arsenal Football Club.
Arteta out, come on now.
With so many people believing that Arteta was just a failed Pep Guardiola apprentice.
Arteta hasn't managed a paper bag. He might turn out to be a great coach. Just wait and see. But it's Guardiola doing the business over there at City, not Arteta.
As Arteta began reshaping his squad, he often talked about trusting the process.
We have to respect the process.
Which again became a controversial phrase among Arsenal fans.
Trust your process. Trust all the players you've overhyped.
In the 2022 season, Arsenal started the season losing the first 3 games, including an embarrassing 5-0 defeat to City, leaving Arsenal at the bottom of the table.
Not if, it's a case of when Arteta is taken out of the commission at Arsenal.
These results brought a lot of backlash, with many fans believing that he should be sacked.
Arteta's got to go. Everything's got to change from top to bottom.
Now, Arsenal ended up recovering and actually challenging for the top 4, but they collapsed in the final weeks, missing out on Champions League football after defeats to Tottenham and Newcastle.
Which I'm sure you would say is not acceptable for a club of Arsenal's stature.
So, the narrative then changed. Now, instead of saying that he should be sacked, pundits like Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher questioned Arteta's ability to handle pressure, calling Arsenal's end of the season failure a bottling job.
Jamie Carragher, is that their Champions League dream over, do you think?
Yes, it is. I think that is a massive problem, not just this season. I think there's a huge problem for Mikel Arteta and this Arsenal team going forward.
I never fully trusted them to get into the top 4, to be honest with you, all the way through, but I thought that they would come out second half and respond for a poor first half and they would go and get that victory tonight, but they showed us nothing.
Whenever Arteta made big decisions, it was always met with criticism. When Arteta stripped Aubameyang of the captaincy and forced him out after disciplinary issues, many fans saw this as an unnecessary ego battle.
I just don't think that leads to anywhere positive for Arteta doing that, but he might have felt like he had to do that.
Pundits began to accuse Arteta of being too rigid and power hungry.
There's no way you can defend Arteta anymore.
Some even claim that he was trying to be a Pep Guardiola copycat without any of the credentials to back it up.
So just to say that I think Arteta is a fake Guardiola.
As Arsenal started to perform better, the criticism from the media continued. Despite finishing with 84 points, Arsenal were mocked for bottling the title.
Since I started at Sky, I am sick of saying the same things about Arsenal. I got bored of it myself.
Again, keep in mind that was a season where nobody expected them to even be in the race. Then, because Arteta is one of the most animated managers on the touchline, he was constantly accused of over-celebrating, being immature, or losing control.
For me, with the celebrations, I think, look, I've gone past the idea of sort of having a go at teams celebrating. I just still think there's a little bit of immaturity in their celebrations, which means that to me it felt like relief that they weren't 8 points behind.
Whenever he complained about referees and fixture scheduling, he was mocked, with people calling him whiny or delusional.
Excuses, excuses, excuses. Arsenal lost at home.
Arsenal fans will tell you that Arteta probably receives more criticism than any other manager for his touchline antics, for his decisions, even basic comments in post-match press conferences. Meanwhile, other managers like Klopp in the past, Pep Guardiola, they got praised for their passion. As Arsenal began to spend more money, the expectations around them got higher. In the 2023-2024 season, they spent heavily on Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, and Jurrien Timber. If you guys remember, the Havertz signing was mocked a lot, with people saying that these guys wasted money on a Chelsea flop.
And then there are opinions that are to damage another opinion that I have to construct.
Even as Arsenal kept winning games, Arsenal's own fan base was divided among Arteta. Some people believed that he was too stubborn in his tactics. Others fully trusted his methods.
He literally got us to a kick away from winning the league, so I still believe that we can do it.
Miguel, sorry to cut him, mate. He's won fuck all, yeah? In 5 years, mate. How much longer does this go?
Some Arsenal fans, including even Thierry Henry, argued that going 4 or 5 years without a Premier League title was unacceptable.
We're a competitor, and we're talking about Arsenal Football Club. I don't care what people say. This is Arsenal Football Club. And I said it. For the last 5 years, we didn't play a final when Man United played 5. 5 years. Second. Mikel has done tremendously well. But if we have to analyze what's been happening, we came short. That doesn't mean we're going to come short again.
But other fans would tell you that Arteta had transformed the entire mentality around the club for the better. Now, the problem for Arteta was that unlike Wenger's era, social media now dominates football discourse, making every result and every decision that much more scrutinized. Since Arsenal have a large online presence, because they have so many fans, they get mocked and ridiculed even more when their teams underperform. The same applies to their new players. I mean, Declan Rice was universally loved as the captain of West Ham, but at Arsenal there's a lot of criticism around him. Even when he's having a season worthy of being the player of the year, people call him a shin kicker, cardio merchant.
Can't lie, I think Rice is overrated though, I'll be so honest.
Do you?
Yeah, 100%. I think he's a very
Why
good
do you think he's overrated?
I think he's a very good player at what he does, but I don't think he'll ever become elite.
No, I don't think he's at the level that people have put him at.
I would have to say that he is a little bit overrated. I'm going to be honest.
Then you have Saka, who despite being a very humble, down-to-earth footballer, he's often overlooked and mocked for things like his limping. Now you have even a player like Gyökeres who gets a ton of criticism, even when Arsenal were winning games. Like, it's one thing if Arsenal were struggling, but they were at the top of every single competition and Gyökeres was still getting flamed by everyone.
That's Gyökeres. There's no way right now that the defender should catch you. Now, that ball has to go here. There's no way that those guys should catch you. If you take care of the ball properly, he's going to have 2 chances to do it. He won't do it.
You just heard Mikel Arteta saying we had 2 or 3 deliveries into the penalty area and we didn't have anyone on the end of them. How can he improve this, Righty?
Well, this is what you think you've bought. Because, listen, you want people to score. You want them to take chances when the chances come. But when you're paying the kind of monies that you pay now for the strikers, what you want more movement. You want to be trying to getting yourself in the middle of the box.
Then you get to the set pieces. Arsenal were first in the Premier League, top of the Champions League table for the first stage, and had made it to a cup final. But all the talk around them was about how much they relied on set pieces.
I don't know if it's 67% of their goals this season might have come from a set piece. Is it sustainable? That's the whole conversation, right?
Every match, that was the talking point. If they won the game, the criticism was that it's not sustainable to keep relying on corners to win games.
Well, Arsenal can keep scoring from corners. The only thing is, will it be enough to win you the title?
I'm sure you don't care about what other people say, but you got 3 goals from open play today. Does that sort of help to sort of stop the narrative about you being set piece only?
Yeah, well, I'm upset that we didn't score from a set piece. Very upset.
If they lost, the discussion would be around the lack of creativity from open play from this team. You guys remember that whole period where Arsenal were considered Dark Arts FC? If they defended well, people said they were parking the bus. When they were getting questionable red cards in the 2024-2025 season, their discipline was criticized. The reality is that whatever Arsenal do, it will be criticized. Whether it's a celebration, a big money transfer, or a managerial decision, they will get backlash. It doesn't matter the manager, the period. Arsenal have always been at the center of doubt and hate. Whether it's from pundits, rival fans, or even their own supporters, everything they do is magnified. So if you're an Arsenal fan, you have to realize that at the end of the day, the criticism, the hate, the debates, they're not going anywhere. You were hated when you were bad, you are still hated when you are good. But the one thing that is certain is whether you love them or hate them, Arsenal will always be a club that gets people talking. Now, to see how these guys went from a team that nobody took seriously for years to one of the most elite clubs in world football again, you have to watch this video right here.